could. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, will you please stand for the pledge? At this time, I'd like to ask United States Navy veteran Frank Gervasi come up to the podium. Frank served the United States Navy during Vietnam War from 1968 to 1971. After training in San Diego, he was selected for the U.S. Naval Recruitment Drum and Bugle Corps. Following additional training in Chicago, he served aboard aircraft carrier USS Independence and as an E-5 Internal Communications Electrician, second class. He was honorably discharged in 1971. Frank, thank you for your service. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Look at the flag, place your right hand on your heart, repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ladies and gentlemen, would everyone please remain standing? I'd like to have a moment of silence for Trooper Gerald Ellis, who was killed in a vehicle collision involving a wrong-way driver. He's Illinois State Police, Illinois. Brooke Jones Story, Illinois State Police. Trooper Brooke Jones Story was struck and killed by a tractor trailer. El Paso County Sheriff's Office, Texas. Deputy Sheriff Peter Harana succumbed to wounds sustained that he was shot after pulling over a vehicle at 1:50 a.m. Phoenix, the Police Department, Arizona. Police Officer Paul Rutherford was struck and killed by a vehicle. Please keep our heroes, our law enforcement, and their families in your thoughts and prayers in this moment of loss, because they're a first of defense against terrorism, and they mean so much to our country. Thank you. I'd like to bring this Board of Commissioners meeting to order Wednesday, April 3rd, 2019, 10 a.m. in the Commissioners Conference Room at 123 Wyoming Avenue at the Lackawanna County Government Center at the Globe. I'd like to make a motion for the approval of minutes. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Terriani?
Yes.
Commissioner Covey?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Malley?
Yes. Proclamation presentations. We have Good Works in Lackawanna County presentation for the poets. So I wonder if we could have the poets come up to the podium. Gentlemen, you brought so much happiness to all of us in Lackawanna County and all over the country. And you're going to be having one last event, April 13th.
7th and 14th.
Two?
7th, but you're almost right.
Okay.
You're almost there. We planned our last, our final performance on April the 7th. See, I was almost wrong, too.
Yeah.
And so we put it out as a last performance, and we cut it off at 700 people, which we sold out in 10 days. So we added one on the 14th, and that will definitely be our final one, too. I think 600 or 500 on that one right now. So it's quite an honor for us to do those last performances.
You started off so many different weddings and situations where people's lives were, they were always, it's always good events.
Yeah.
The beginning of a life together. I mean, you probably have people that are married 50-some years at this point after being around for 55 years.
Yeah.
I mean, the impact is immense.
Thank you.
And we, on behalf of the 214,000 citizens, we'd just like to thank you.
Well, we also like to thank Lackawanna County.
That's right.
The city of Scranton, northeastern Pennsylvania. I mean, it's just been an honor for us to be around for 55 years. And, not just be around, but really do as well as we did. We played for large groups the whole time. Wasn't ever a time when we were down. We were always kind of on top, and that was a pleasure.
I was talking a little bit to Frankie a little while ago on the elevator. He was talking about how sometimes you guys would perform 2 to 4, 4 to 8, and then do the night session. I was like, wow, and you do that days and days in a row.
Yeah, we did.
That's amazing.
And I want to thank everybody in Lackawanna County that I never had to have a real job.
Commissioner Cummings.
Well, I mean, everyone is familiar with your band and your music and all. I know that I've seen you many, many times. Thank you so much for the entertainment that you've provided to all of our citizens. I'm sorry to see that you're going, so I wish you well in your retirement, but I'm going to try and get one of those tickets. I tried already and I lost, so I'll try on the 14th. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Proud of both your work.
Commissioner Terriani.
And I, too, have seen you many, many times. But it is a real job. It's just one you love.
That's right.
That's right.
It's great to have that opportunity, and thank you guys for your involvement in northeastern Pennsylvania, and spread the good word, and thank you all again. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're
Great honor being here.
Appreciate it.
Every July 27th, my wife, we talk about our wedding, and the poets
right.
were at our wedding.
That's right.
And you really made the wedding. I remember how happy my wife was. She said, we got the poets for the wedding. And then, she was, I think we actually put in the invitations that the poets would be playing. No, I'm pretty sure we did, actually. But the impact has been immense throughout our county and throughout our country. And like you said, life is about trying to be happy or make someone happy. And the 5 of you have done that for over 55 years. So I'd just like to thank you on behalf of the 214,000 citizens, because you really matter to all of us. And when I saw that you were going to be basically closing the show in April, we definitely wanted to have you come in to our commissioners meeting before your last show. So
Appreciate
you
that.
very much.
Thank you very much.
thank you for the happiness that you provided for so many. So we have 5 certificates. Certificate of recognition. The County of Lackawanna Board of Commissioners does hereby recognize the poets in honoring and achieving a designation as an individual group providing good works in Lackawanna County, given the 3rd day of April of 2019 by Patrick M. O'Malley, Jerry Terriani, and Lorraine A. Cummings, Commissioners of Lackawanna County, on behalf of the 214,000 citizens. Would you like to come forward?
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Thanks, Commissioner. Appreciate it.
Thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you. Awesome.
You come to the dance, we'll do cheering.
Awesome job.
Thank you so much.
The best part. Absolutely. Glad to have you. When I heard you were
Thank you.
That's what I do all day. And of course, by the way.
Let's slide down this way. Keep going.
Like the Temptations. Crossover.
like the Temptations.
One more step.
One more step?
Okay, here we go. We're in the middle. Everybody smile. Look here. We're gonna take a couple. Everybody smile. Take one with the flash. There we go. Smile. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
Oh, my God.
I should have let it go.
They won't get you a big camera.
Oh, yeah. You're better. How you doing? Like a lady.
Thanks again, Commissioner.
Very tough to say.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody.
Take care, guys.
Look at that little dinky camera. It works really good. It does. Oh, you're better. You're better.
Okay, thank you. Thanks again.
Okay, now get to work.
National Library Week. Why are they standing in the back there? They could sit.
Ladies and gentlemen, again, I'd like to just thank the poets for 55 years of great memories. At this time, I'd like to bring up, it's National Library Week, April 7th through the 13th. Mary Garm.
Good morning, Commissioners. How are you?
How are you, Mary?
Great, thanks. Thank you for celebrating National Library Week with us this year and for giving me the opportunity to talk about libraries here in Lackawanna County. I've brought some other folks with me today, some librarians and a library board member. Would you all stand? You know Joan Hodowanitz, member of the Lackawanna County Library Board. Susan Jeffrey from the North Pocono Public Library, and Sue Chu from the Dalton Community Library. And the newest member of our team, Scott Thomas, is the new CEO of the Scranton Public Library. So we're happy to have an opportunity to introduce him to you today. And he's brought with him two members of his staff, Marie Crispino and Christine Mandarino. So thank you all for being here. They're the reason we do good work in Lackawanna County. So, as you know, Commissioners, books are still an important part of the work that libraries do. But today we offer so much more. Libraries are really adaptable institutions, and one of our primary missions is to try to address the changing needs of our communities. And so what I'd like to do is share with you just 3 ways that our libraries are addressing those changing needs that might be surprising to some people. So number 1. Libraries are a great place for kids and adults to learn about STEM skills. STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and math, is of great interest today, of course. It can lead individuals to career advancements, and it can help businesses with new innovations. Our libraries in Lackawanna County offered more than 700 STEM programs during the last year. And those ranged from things like building block parties for toddlers to robotics and robotics and Lego tournaments for older children. So what those programs are doing is really helping our kids here in Lackawanna County learn to enjoy STEM skills in out-of-school kinds of settings. They're having fun learning. Number 2. If you need some help learning to use a new phone or a tablet, if you want to learn some new software skills, if you want to record a video or a podcast, or see how a 3D printer works, or transfer your home videos to DVD, our libraries are here to help. And if you're looking for a computer that has fast internet access, our libraries have more than 100 of them that are available to anybody to use. And number 3, for people today, life really can be a blur of commitments with work and home and all kinds of stuff going on, and getting to the library can be really hard to fit into a schedule. So our libraries can help you there too. You can download books and audiobooks directly to your phone or your tablet or other device right from your home or your school or your office anytime, day or night. You can also do research for school or work or for personal information by using some of the many authoritative resources that we have available on our library website. Last year, library patrons downloaded 55,000 ebooks and audiobooks for free from the library, and they found 45,000 pieces of useful electronic information as well. So this year's theme for National Library Week is Libraries Equal Strong Communities. And libraries help their communities to be strong by adapting services to changing needs. And again, that is the primary mission of the library, to respond to the things that people want and need by developing new services and providing new kinds of information. That is the great strength of our libraries, and it is how we help to keep communities in Lackawanna County strong. It's important to note that you can use library services at any of our 10 library locations in Lackawanna County, or you can visit the Bookmobile when it visits your community. And all you need is a library card. And you can sign up for a library card at any of our libraries in person, or you can do it online at the library's website, lclshome.org. And before I finish, I'd like to just mention 2 events that are taking place this month that we'd like to highlight. And the first is taking place next Wednesday, a week from today, April 10th. And as we're celebrating National Library Week next week, Wednesday is National Bookmobile Day. So the Lackawanna County Bookmobile will be holding an open house on Courthouse Square. It'll be on the Linden Street side of the courthouse from noon until 3. So if you're out and about at lunchtime, or if you happen to be downtown shopping, bring your kids and stop in and see see what's happening at the bookmobile. You can sign up for a library card. You can board the bookmobile and maybe take out a couple of books, and there'll be activities for kids, and you might even win a prize. So that's Wednesday, April 10th, from noon until 3 on the Linden Street side of the courthouse. And the following week, Thursday, April 18th, we're going to be hosting the Pulitzer Prize-winning author Colson Whitehead in the American Masters Lecture. In addition to the Pulitzer Prize, he won the National Book Award for his novel, The Underground Railroad. And he's also received one of the MacArthur Foundation Genius Grants. So he's going to be a really interesting person. We're looking forward to hearing what he has to say. And that will be Thursday, April 18th at 7 o'clock at the Scranton Cultural Center. Admission is free, and tickets are available at any of our libraries or online at our website, lclshome.org. And finally, Commissioners, I'd just like to thank you for your continuing support of libraries and for all you do to make our libraries successful here in Lackawanna County. And thank you for recognizing us for National Library Week.
Mary, the library system means the world to the citizens of Lackawanna County. It really does. Commissioner Cummings?
You do a lot of work, and I was impressed with the new strategies that you've implemented, especially, as you know, with script writing. I'm not sure if that's the class you're calling it. What is the title of that?
Cursive.
The cursive class?
Yeah,
Is that?
yeah.
Because they don't teach that in some of our school systems, which is ridiculous. But I'd like to thank you for continuing to educate our citizens. Thank you.
Commissioner Terriani?
You do a great job. It's very progressive. It keeps growing and growing. Just keep up the good work. We've built a good team, and
Library.
that makes it much, much easier, and thank you for everything.
Thank you.
The libraries in Lackawanna County are more of a community center than the library. You know, we think about the libraries as just books and stuff. So it's books and DVDs and videos and teaching people how to do resumes and readings and reading trees and gardens and, you know, you have some great librarians that are here today.
Absolutely.
Great ones. And each one of their libraries are different than the last. And one of my fondest moments being in the library was we were at the library and they actually got the elevator to the second floor, and I think Keith Williams was at the event, and Keith said, I had an opportunity to see the second floor, because we're always talking about trying to make sure that everybody's on the same even playing field.
Absolutely.
And you know, the building was 100 and some years old. And back then, you know, I mean, they didn't have that type of an elevator system. And if they did, it was very small. It wasn't adequate for anybody to be able to get on with any type of wheelchair or any type of device to get on. And no one had been on that floor ever that had that type of situation. And it just showed that how far in advance the library system has become, that it's for every single solitary citizen. It's for everyone. Doesn't matter what your situation, your circumstances, it's here for everyone. And it just really matters to the citizens of Lackawanna County. And but like you said, each one of them is just so unique. Some have the vegetable gardens, the reading trees, and it's just great. It really is. And it's, like I said, it's just not like the old days. It's just not books. It's everything plus. Like I said, you actually have meetings at the libraries throughout the community.
Absolutely.
That was something that was, I don't remember ever hearing that back in the 70s or early 80s.
Right. Yeah, that's become a really important part of the services that our libraries offer. Most of our libraries have really nice community meeting rooms, and so nonprofit groups and government groups are welcome to come and schedule a room and have an opportunity to meet. What's great about our libraries is that they are located in each of the significant population centers throughout the county. So if you're trying to find a way to get to have a meeting in Carbondale or in Dalton or in Moscow or in Scranton, libraries are a good place to check out.
And we have our newest library, which is up in Moscow. It's incredible.
Beautiful. Yeah.
And it's Susan Jeffries back there. What a fabulous job she's done. And I remember going to her original library, and it was like a quarter of this room at that width with that type of depth. Lots of books,
Yep.
lots of enthusiasm.
Right.
And then the beautiful library that grew out of the fields right as you entered into Moscow. Amazing, amazing.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, and we couldn't do it without the support of the taxpayers of Lackawanna County and the county commissioners. We appreciate that.
We're here for the libraries. We have a proclamation. Whereas Lackawanna County Library System, established in 1983, was comprised of 7 community libraries with 10 locations, is trusted and treasured institutions in our county, where libraries and library staffs would work to better our communities. Whereas Lackawanna County libraries are more than just book repositories, demonstrating the breadth and depth in each of their communities and opportunities in their communities, engagements and learning growth, while delivering new services which are more closely connected to residents and their needs. Whereas Lackawanna County Library Systems has one of the most robust public library systems in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania throughout its history, and it has demonstrated to the commitment to the continuous innovation and excellence. It has constantly served and valued the needed institutions. It is staffed with volunteers that strengthen their centers by fueling their effects and enhances the surrounding communities. Whereas Lackawanna County Library volunteers are recognized as information professionals. The level of playing fields for anyone to seek information and access of technologies, particularly as society continues its transitions, the way in which its information is shared. Whereas the Lackawanna County Library supports democracy and affects social change throughout its commitment to providing equitable access and information for all of its library users. Now, therefore, we, Patrick M. O'Malley, Jerry Notarianni, Lorraine Cummings, Commissioners of Lackawanna County, do hereby acknowledge April 7th through the 13th, 2019, on behalf of the 214,000 citizens as National Library Day. And I read that without my cheaters because I forgot them. It was really tough.
You did okay.
Oh, it was really tough. But ladies and gentlemen, our libraries just mean so much to us, and they really are. They're like the lifeblood of our community. I'd like to thank all the librarians and all of their volunteers, because volunteers are the lifeblood of a community, and that's for all different aspects of our community. Volunteers really make life great. So
For sure.
I'd like to thank all our volunteers, and thank you to you, Mary Garm.
Thank
Would
you
you like
very
to come
much.
forward?
You
And I
bet.
wonder if we could bring all the librarians with them. I usually have this blown up. I was like,
There she is. How are you? We haven't seen you since the last meeting.
Very well, thank you.
Susan, how are you? How are you? How you doing? Good? Good to see you again. Everything good?
April the 27th.
Send us something, absolutely. How are you?
That's okay.
Thanks for being here. Nice to meet you. Put you in the middle.
Okay, you good? Standing in front of everybody?
Scott, why don't you, Mary, can you stand next to Scott?
Next to Scott.
Yeah.
So like step back
Right there.
and then have step forward?
Me?
Yes.
Okay.
All right,
I'm the
there, that's
shortest
good.
one.
All right, here we go. Everybody look here. We're going to smile, take a bunch of them. Smile. Give them with the flash. Here we go. Smile. 2 more. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you so much.
Very much.
Congratulations again.
Thank you very much. I
so much.
appreciate
Have a
it.
good one.
Thanks.
Hey, Mary, where do you post those?
Website, you see them on the events page. Do you put a newsletter?
Thank you.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, the viewing audience, please get your library card. There's a lot more opportunities than you believe at the library today. So much more. Opportunity for the public to address the board.
No. You skipped one.
That was right in. Oh, okay. 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 We'd like to have Brenda Sacco come up to the podium. Good morning, Brenda.
Good morning. I'm Brenda Sacco. I'm the Acting Director of Economic Development, and I was asked by our Chief of Staff to introduce the new Deputy Director of Finance and Operations, John Gleason, who was hired by the Commissioners, joined our department in March. I'll let John actually come up and tell us a little bit about himself.
Yeah.
Hi, thank you. I just appreciate the opportunity to be part of the county, and hopefully through the guidance of a lot of the people I've met over the past couple of weeks, be able to oversee some of the programs that help our residents. My background has been business. I spent a lot of years in sales, marketing, on a national and an international basis, and so yeah, I think so far I've seen a little bit of that being influenced in the things that I've been exposed to, and look forward to being exposed to much more, because the department's a pretty big department and does a lot of things. So appreciate the opportunity and hope that I can serve the county well. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thanks,
Commissioner Cummings?
Well, I know John for a long time. He's a member of my church. He was an elder at my church, and served with him on the board, Greater Northeast Chamber board for a few years, and worked with his dad at Pop Pop's shop over in Music, and they owned Gleason Kitchens, and stalwart member of the community, and it's a privilege to be able to have you on board at the county, and I look forward to seeing your ideas for that office, and with yourself and Brenda in charge up there, or actually I'm upstairs, you guys are below us, but yeah, it'll be nice to see some work that's happening to improve some of the issues that have gone on. So let's make it all very positive experience and happy, and I'm glad to have you on board. Very glad to have you on board. Thank you.
Commissioner Notarianni.
I had to ask Commissioner Cummings who Mr. Gleason was this morning. We haven't had the opportunity to meet.
Actually, it did. He was in the elevator.
Good luck, and hope everything works out well.
Appreciate it.
Congratulations, Mr. Gleason.
Thank you.
You're being an asset to the county. Thank you for coming in today.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Okay, opportunity for the public to address the board on agenda items only. Whoa, okay.
Nobody?
No.
Oh, Bob is having surgery today. He told me to tell you.
Okay, there we go. Okay, resolutions 19-0082, approving current payables.
Thank you, Commissioner. This is a resolution approving the current payables. Be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County does hereby approve the following payables. Lackawanna County General Fund numbers 279188 through 280198 inclusive, totaling $2,935,554.71, and electronic fund transfers including all payroll accounts totaling $5,449,192.79.
Gary, how's everything going?
Good, Commissioners. All invoices have been and are being audited as we speak and are in order.
Okay. Does the board have any questions for our controller? I'd like to make a motion approving current payables. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Terriani?
Yes.
Commissioner Cummings?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Malley?
Yes. 19-0073.
Thank you, Commissioner. This is a resolution entering into a memorandum of understanding with Geisinger Community Medical Center. Be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County does hereby enter into a memorandum of understanding with the Geisinger Community Medical Center to participate in a drug discount program established by the federal government under Section 340B of the Public Health Services Act, which enables participating hospitals sponsored by local government bodies to receive certain discounts for the costs of outpatient medications and pharmaceuticals. And here to address the board today on that matter is Matthew Craw of Geisinger Senior 340B Analysis. Matthew? Okay.
Morning, Matthew.
Hello, Commissioners. Thank you for having me today.
You're welcome.
So the 340B discount program, it helps us support our community by giving these discounts right back to the patient. Some of the programs that we currently have include a fresh food pharmacy. So it's actually a food bank that allows patients that can't afford nutritious food to come in and work with a dietitian and work with a chef, do proper meal planning, and we've seen significant reductions in A1C levels and getting diabetic patients under control. We also have a robust charity care process at Geisinger. We do not turn anybody away for care, and we are currently in the process of working to directly discount patients' medications upon discharge. So if a patient can't afford their medication, actually just yesterday I had a patient in the pharmacy that had a $95 copay for their blood thinner that would have held their discharge up. We were able to use the 340B discount at Geisinger, Wyoming Valley, and we gave the patient their medication and sent them out the door. Without that, discharge would have been delayed, the patient would have stayed longer, the cost of care would have went up. So these funds go directly to support the patient and continue to allow us to do the care that is not otherwise reimbursable by Medicare or commercial payers.
Okay, does the board have any questions?
And Matthew, just to specify, the county is acting as a sponsor for this program that enables you to access those funds through the federal government. Is that correct?
So it is not funds by the federal government. This program is regulated by HRSA, and the discounts actually come from the manufacturers.
Okay, from the pharmaceutical companies.
Yeah, so if the pharmaceutical company wants to participate in the Medicare or Medicaid program, they have to offer the hospitals that qualify for 340B these discounts.
Okay.
So it is totally funded by the drug companies. There's no taxpayer funds involved. And this is, in order to qualify, we have to meet a certain disproportionate share rate, which is our total Medicaid and SSI bed days divided by our total bed days. And we have to have the memorandum of understanding with the local government, which is what we're asking the county to provide with us today.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, I'd like to make a motion entering into a memorandum of understanding with Geisinger Community Medical Center. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Terriani?
Yes.
Commissioner Cummings?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Malley?
Yes. I think this is a great opportunity for our citizens.
Thank you.
Especially those that are, didn't have a lot of, that might have maintenance drugs and other things, so.
And we will offer that service as well. So if a patient is discharged and they do have a chronic med that they're going to need, they can work with us and our pharmacy reimbursement coordinators, and we will get them the medication they need and, hopefully prevent those readmissions. So we look forward to working with the county on this process too.
We want our citizens to be able to afford to live. And a lot of times, they're making a decision between their medication or cutting their pills in half and all this other stuff to be able to eat. So this is an extra opportunity for them to utilize.
Absolutely, and that's the intent of the program. So we look forward to working with the county.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. 19-0074.
Thank you, Commissioners. This is a resolution adopting a political firing policy. Whereas during the term of the current members of the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County, the majority of the members of the board have maintained an informal policy which provides that no department head, board member, or employee of Lackawanna County, including those employees serving in positions by appointment of the members of the Board of Commissioners, shall be dismissed, terminated, removed, or fired solely because of political affiliation, support or lack of support for any elected official or political party, or other form of political motivated action. And whereas There have been no dismissals, terminations, removals, or firings from any department head, board member, or employees, including employees serving in positions by appointment by the Board of Commissioners for the political reasons during the current term. And whereas the direct and proximate result of the above-referenced informal policy has resulted in substantial monetary benefit to Lackawanna County in that insurance deductibles and insurance premiums for certain types of insurance covering acts and omissions which are contrary to the informal policy referenced above have been drastically reduced, thereby saving Lackawanna County taxpayers hundreds of thousands of dollars during this period during the above-referenced informal policy that has been in effect. And whereas the above-referenced policy has benefited department heads, board members, and employees, including employees appointed by the Board of Commissioners, in that their relationship with Lackawanna County is free from coercion and other political retaliation and retribution, and such individuals are free and at liberty to perform their duties and functions without concern for any political ramifications. And whereas it is in the best interest of Lackawanna County to make the above informal policy the official policy of the Board of Commissioners for the reasons above stated. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County is hereby resolved by and with the authority of the same that 1. Heretofore shall be the official policy of Lackawanna County that no department head, board member, or employee, including those serving in positions of appointment by the Board of Commissioners, shall be dismissed, terminated, removed, or fired solely because of political affiliation, support or lack of support of any candidate, official or party, or any other form of politically motivated actions. And 2, this policy shall not affect any dismissal, termination, removal, or firing for cause or which is otherwise authorized by law. Number 3, the policy shall set forth in this resolution shall be effective immediately upon passage of this resolution and shall be in effect until modified or rescinded by formal official action of the Board of Commissioners held at a public meeting.
Okay. This was part of my platform when I ran, 2011, and I just truly believe that it's a horrible circumstance when you get fired for no reason whatsoever. I'd like to hand this over to Commissioner Cummings at this time.
Well, I understand it was part of Commissioner O'Malley's political platform before he ran. And, you know, it was something that we had agreed to upon me coming into office. And I didn't realize that Commissioner had been affected by this in the past. So I'm sorry that that happened to you. And, you know, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't happen to anyone. No one should ever be fired or terminated because of the fact that they were affiliated with any of the commissioners or any of the friends of the commissioners or anything like that. And their work performance should be what is being evaluated, not who they know or, you know, how they got hired or why they know them. That's something that I've never experienced. I know that Commissioner O'Malley has. I'm not sure about Commissioner Notarianni. I'm not sure what if you ever worked at the county and saw this happen. But you know, it is something that I looked at with Rick Jones and our insurance costs and the payments that we had to make out in the past. I do believe in the past 4 years there has been issues that has really made me want to write this up now to make sure that it doesn't happen. And no one should be, you know, forced to help any candidate. No one should be forced to not help any candidate because of political affiliation or because they work here. And this is a new policy that we set forward. I hope that it continues on to any administration that comes in the future. Hopefully that would be the same. Well, at least me. I'm hoping for I get it. But I really do hope that this never happens to anyone. And we have saved money. And Rick, could you talk about that a little bit in regards to how the county has saved some funding on this?
Sure. Good morning, Commissioners. In the 8 years that preceded the current 4 years, the period from 2007 through 2014, there were 32 political firings in Lackawanna County that generated nearly $2 million in paid damages and more than $1.6 million in legal expenses, wow, for a total of $3.5 million expended, or an average claim of $110,726. In the past 4 years, beginning in 2015, there have been 0 political firings with 0 paid damages and 0 legal expenses. In 2007, the county's annual premium for this coverage was $116,868. By 2015, that premium had nearly doubled to $229,971. In 2019, our annual premium is now $219,561, which is only a modest 5% decrease. But despite annual inflation and the 8-year period of dozens of claims and millions of dollars paid out, the county's annual premium is now trending downward.
Good job, Rick. Commissioner Terriani?
No, I fully understand. This is actually already a state law, isn't it, that you can't do this?
But it
is,
happened.
right? This is just a, okay.
I'd like to thank Rick Jones. He does a great, marvelous job.
Yeah.
And it's a horrible situation when someone does a very, very good job and they're fired just because. And I thought it was really wrong. And I will definitely be voting for this. And I truly believe that, you know, we have very qualified deputy directors, assistants, and a lot of other great employees here. And no reason to ever just fire them just because the effects on families are irreparable, you know, from just the benefits to the finances to the people's mortgages to their regular lives to everything that it affects and impacts. And I just truly, truly, truly believe it's wrong. And, you know, if somebody's going to get fired from our county, it's because they did something wrong or they did something against the rules. It's not going to be just because. And it just hasn't happened in the last 4 years, and hopefully it won't ever happen again. But we're just hoping that this is just another way to stop it or to just make people have to reflect, or they'll have to do something about this before they start politically firing again. So at this time, I'd like to make a motion adopting a political firing policy. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Terriani?
Yes.
Commissioner Cummings?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Malley?
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. 19-0075.
Thank you, Commissioner. This is a resolution authorizing the filing of a Pennsylvania Department of Conservation and Natural Resources grant application. Whereas the Lackawanna County Commissioners desire to undertake the development and construction of the North Pocono Trail project, and whereas the applicant desires to receive from the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources, DCNR, a grant for the purpose of carrying out this project. And whereas the application package includes a document entitled Terms and Conditions of the Grant and Document Grant Agreement Signature Page. And whereas the applicant understands that the contents of the document entitled Terms and Conditions of Grant, including appendices referenced to therein, will become the terms and conditions of a grant agreement between the applicant and the department if the applicant is awarded the grant. Now therefore be it resolved that 1, the grant agreement signature page may be signed on behalf of the applicant by the official who, at the time of signing, is entitled as the chairman. 2, it is the official sign the grant agreement signature page prior to the passage of this resolution. The grant of authority applies retroactively to the date of signing. 3, the applicant is awarded a grant. If the applicant is awarded a grant, the grant agreement signature page signed by the above official shall become the applicant's signature executed page of the grant agreement, and the applicant grantee, it will be bound by the grant agreement. 4, any amendment to the grant agreement may be signed on behalf of the grantee by the official who, at the time of signing of the amendment, has the title of chairman specified in paragraph 1, and the grantee shall be bound by the amendment. Here to address the board on this today is, what do we have? Sandy Obshinsky. Sandy, where you at?
Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you for having me. This resolution actually is going to pertain also to the upcoming resolution about an agreement. But this is the work on a 4-mile section of trail from the borough of Dunmore into Elmhurst. We are using PennDOT's funds actually as a match for this, so the county doesn't have to put forth any capital.
It's a great project, and it's been talked about for the last 2 years. I think it's been very good for the citizens of North Pocono. And like I said, it's not costing anything, and we'll be able to utilize the money towards the grant. So I think it's going to be great. Does the board have any questions?
I just want to thank Sandy for her work, and I've had the opportunity to sit with her for a little bit in the past 2 weeks, and she does an awesome job, and I thank you for the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
Even though I'm not in agreement with some of the things that we do, it doesn't reflect on your work. It's just my philosophy. So thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
Commissioner Notarianni?
Oh, I'm good.
I also like to thank Sandy. Sandy, her hobby is helping people to find money that's not available to them, not even in a regular job. So, like, it just shows how much she cares about the citizens of our communities. I'd like to make a motion authorizing the filing of a PA Department Conservation Natural Resource Grant application. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Terriani?
Yes.
Commissioner Cummings?
No.
Commissioner O'Malley?
Yes. Thanks. 19-0076.
Thank you, Commissioner. This is a resolution entering into an agreement with McTish, Kunkel and Associates for design services for the North Pocono Trail Project. Whereas Lackawanna County is interested in promoting economic development and revitalization within Lackawanna County. And whereas Lackawanna County submitted and was awarded funding through the Pennsylvania Department of Conservation and Natural Resources, DCNR, for the North Pocono Trail Project design in the amount of $141,000. And whereas Lackawanna County has been given the official right-of-way in the vicinity of the Interstate Routes 84/380 project by the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation, while McTish, Kunkel and Associates performed their design and engineering studies for the replacement of bridges on and along Interstate Routes 84 and 380 within the North Pocono Trail project, and desired to combine the resources and the grant award to collaborate on the design of the trail project. And whereas the Pennsylvania Department of Conservation and Natural Resources has given Lackawanna County a notice to proceed to begin design and engineering with McTish, Kunkel and Associates on the project with awarded grant funding. And whereas Lackawanna County hereby authorizes the chairman of the Lackawanna County Board of Commissioners to sign and authorize all documents related to the McTish, Kunkel and Associates agreement in the amount of $151,900. Now therefore be it resolved this third day of April 2019 that the Lackawanna County Board of Commissioners is hereby authorized and approve the signature of this agreement on behalf of the above named project. And here to speak to the board again is Sandy Upshinsky. Sandy?
Here I am. This is an interesting situation, and it actually works very, very well also for Lackawanna County. PennDOT is replacing the two large bridges on the 84-380 corridor, and while they're doing that, it gives us an opportunity to use the funding that they are putting forth into that project to do design and development on the trail portion that we've owned since 1980. This project, it's one of those situations that it's kind of not going to come around again. Since they're doing the work, they have allowed us to use their project dollars as a match. This McTish, Kunkel and Associates is the designer that is currently working with PennDOT and has been approved and bid by the state to perform this work. This is merely them expanding the design work that they're doing on replacing the bridges to incorporate the development of the trail. So this is actually another good thing that Lackawanna County is entering into. They have already been part of the design of replacing those bridges. So it's more or less like, why not let them, instead of trying to get another design team in to look at it, just using the design team that's present and having them do the development of the trail so that we can then go forward to ask for additional funding, which is also PennDOT's funding that they're spending anyway. So it's a wonderful situation for us.
Okay. Does the board have any questions for Sandy?
No, I just have comments on both these two grants because of the fact that, I understand, I agree with replacing the bridge, and I think it was very interesting how they're going to also develop a trail in the same time, and this is all combined in one, so that's the reason I have to object to it, because of the trail. And we have to maintain the trails once they're done, so That's the only reason I'm voting no on it. And congratulations on your work with combining this, but I just disagree with
Thanks.
the.
Well, actually, that hasn't been solidified, that arrangement, as far as maintenance is concerned.
Oh, okay.
Each of those communities is willing to do a portion of that maintenance themselves.
Well, that's good to hear.
In the areas where their portion of the trail is cited. So,
Good.
I mean, that is something that can be furthered with a cooperation agreement, with discussion, in going forward. Each of those communities can also have a stake in it.
Good,
Because
I hope
it's an
they do.
amenity within their community. And in keeping out of their way, so to speak, the development of the trail will begin from the end point of this design process at Elmhurst and be working back toward the bridges, so that we are not taking away any of they're going to be doing a lot of work, obviously, and that's going to be probably about 3 to 4 years duration in replacing and removing those bridges. So we're going to work from the other side toward the bridges.
That's good.
Also, Sandy, don't forget to mention, as part of this project, Commissioners, the county currently owns an old railroad trestle bridge that is in really bad shape. As part of this project, PennDOT is going to be
Removing it.
No, they're going to be repairing it
Rehabilitating it.
at their expense.
We already voted on that.
Yeah.
That was last.
Well, this is but this will be part of that overall project, so it's actually
They're using 1.5 million of their fund of PennDOT's money to renovate actually
that bridge.
our trestle.
I remember
Because they need to use
remember
that
that.
bridge to access their bridges for repair. So we're going to get a completely rehab bridge at the end of the period. So
Which will
and no
be-
cost to the county. So
Correct.
yeah, so.
And it'll
That
be part of
wasn't
the
a part
trail.
of this grant. That's not a part of this grant.
Well, it's part of it, yeah, because it's part of the
voted on
planning
that
for
last
that.
year.
Yeah, well, that's part, but that was the original agreement to go through. This is also part of that, though, Commissioner, because this is
Yes.
part of the planning for those bridges. So, yeah, this has to take place before they can progress with the other part.
I agree with the bridges. I'm just talking about the trail. They stuck that in there. Do you understand what I'm saying? They stuck, it's like they add it more into the bill like they do out in Washington, so that you kind of have to
I
vote
get
for
you.
it. So I'm just kind of making a stand that, no, you really don't. You can separate it. Thanks.
Commissioner
Okay, can we go?
No, I've read them and I understand them and I agree with them.
Yeah, we all understand them. That's understood.
I'm happy with the project, and it would be unaffordable for us to have to fix that bridge, and they are under our jurisdiction. So, I mean, that's a win right there, and if we're able to utilize the money towards the project, towards the grants, to be able to have a nice trail up there for the people of North Pocono, I think it's a major plus. The people love our trails in Lackawanna County, so this is just an added.
Not all of them.
Well, and the other
There are
fact of the matter remains is the county currently owns the property.
Right.
And we've owned the property, like I said, since 1980. So a lot of that land is being used by, whether it's ATVs, whether, so
not gonna
therefore, if there were an issue on with it's still a liability issue. Even if someone is on it, whether it's an ATV or what have you, because it's Lackawanna County property, there is a liability issue. So there again, why not develop it to its greatest potential and have it be used not for illegal purposes, but for, walking, bike riding, wellness. It's one more thing that keeps people out of our area hospitals. So, thank you.
Thanks, Sandy. I'd like to make a motion to enter into an agreement with McIntosh Conkle Associates to design service for the North Pocono Trail Project. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Yes.
No.
Yes. 19-0077.
Thank you, Commissioner. This is a resolution entering into a cooperative agreement. Be it resolved, the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County does hereby enter into a cooperative agreement with the Pennsylvania Department of Conservation and Natural Resources for the 2019 Gypsy Moth Suppression Project. And here to address the Board is our Gypsy Moth Coordinator, Mike Chisdock.
Good morning,
Mike.
Commissioners.
Morning, Mike.
How are you?
Always a pleasure to be here.
Our
Spring is here.
spring is
Good,
here.
good,
The
yeah.
caterpillars will be out next month. This
Lucky
project
us.
is a cost share program where there's state monies and county monies involved. But however, this season, we're the only county in the state that has a suppression project. So the state is picking up the tab for the whole project. So it's going to cost the county $0. And our initial cost share would have been $86,625. So that's a big savings to the county. And, you know, it's a good win for us. So it's not going to cost us anything this year to spray for the gypsy moth.
Well, we're happy you're here because I know a lot of our citizens are worried about the gypsy moths early, just
Yes.
in general.
Yes.
And we get the calls.
Oh,
so-
yeah, I get them too.
No, you get them too.
I'm at the bottom of the hill, I get them. But on that note, though, Pat, I'd like to say that we can't add any acreage at this time. You know, I do get calls, people want to get in. See, I do the survey work last summer, July, August, September, into October, and then I send my proposals to Harrisburg, and they contract with the actual spray applicators, the aircraft companies. So that's all set to go, so we can't add anybody at this
Yeah.
time. So just I want to.
Hey, you already did all the advanced
We
work
did
last
everything,
year.
yeah, and some people, you want to get in, it's just too late, we can't do that at this point, so.
Well, if you go over, get a little helicopter, get spray their house. I'm only kidding. But no, this is a good sign. The parks are starting to open. You know, I mean, everything's going to be nice and green soon.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're going to be able to hopefully combat the gypsy moths.
Yeah, spray season is typically from mid to late May, depending on how the caterpillars develop, so.
Good, good. And what's the cost to the county?
Zero.
Zero.
Our initial cost share would have been $55 an acre, and we're doing 1,575 acres, so it's a significant savings of almost $90,000, so.
That's great. And I'd like to personally thank Mike. Mike does a great job, and he makes sure that, you know, our parks and all of our lands are taken care of.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mike, for
And
everything you do.
one thing I'd like to do is thank Steve Solon and the Planning Commission for his work with the GIS. He makes this
the mapping
project happen,
system.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does big help with this program, and he's kind of behind the scenes, but I'd like to thank Steve for all his help.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion entering into a cooperative agreement. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Terriani?
Yes.
Commissioner Cummings?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Malley?
Yes. Oh, Deputy Director Mark Dewar, reach out to the municipalities up in North Pocono and see how they would section that off on the trail. I forgot to bring that up when we were talking because we were always under the impression that the county would be taking over, like we do the work on taking the trash off the trails and stuff like that for the other trails. I mean, this will be a great opportunity for us to not even have to utilize any manpower. If each of those little municipalities have a smaller DPW, if they could lend a hand, that would be great.
Yeah, really, it would.
That would
Yeah,
be great. We
that
were
would
always
be
under the
awesome.
impression it was going to be probably
They would just
us
do it
that
to
would be
begin
up there,
with.
someone from Covington going over, Covington Park going over to take care of the trash and make sure the weeds are, you know, leveled off. So, okay. 19-0078.
Thank you, Commissioner. This is a resolution entering into an agricultural conservation easements. Be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County does hereby enter into an agreement acting through the County Agricultural Land Preservation Board for the sale and purchase of an agricultural conservation easements for 1. 29.13 acres of crop livestock operations owned by Joseph and Ellie Matichek in Scott Township. 10 acres of wooded parcel in the Ronlin Vale Farm Number 1 in Greenfield Township, and 19.18 acres of crop and fruit production operation in the Ronlin Vale Farm Number 2 in Greenfield Township. And here to address the board today is our Farmland Preservation Program Administrator, Eric Johnson. Eric?
And Jerry Stiles.
And Jerry Stiles, I'm
And
sorry.
Jerry Stiles,
Jerry's
absolutely.
I didn't see
Don't forget
Jerry.
Jerry.
There's Jerry. Jerry.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you. As Mr. Frederickson said, we're looking to purchase 3 parcels of land in Lackawanna County through our Agricultural Conservation Easement Program. The funding that will be used this round is county funding, given the size of the parcels and the availability of funding. As he said, the Joseph and Ellie Matichak Farm in Scott Township of 29.13 acres will be purchased at a cost to the county of $72,825. Important to note that those funds are already existing in our accounts. It's not new money that's being obligated to those projects. Ronlin Vale Number 1, the 10-acre wooded parcel, is actually being donated on behalf of the landowner, who will receive $0 in easement funding for that property. So that will be at no cost to Lackawanna County to acquire that 10-acre easement from the Vale Farm. And the Vale Number 2 parcel, which would be the remaining 19.1 acres of that property, will be purchased at a cost of $47,950 by the County of Lackawanna. Again, money that already exists in the account, not new money that's being obligated to that. Total acreage purchased will be 58.31 acres between 3 agreements at a total cost to Lackawanna County of $120,775.
Does the board have any questions?
No, Eric, this is a great program, and could you explain a little bit about why we do this?
Yeah, so the program exists. This is a state and county program that's administered through the Lackawanna County Conservation District and the Agricultural Land Preservation Board. It exists solely for the purpose of protecting and preserving agricultural land for generations to come. This land is not being made ever again, and as we lose it to development pressures, both commercially and residentially, we're not getting it back. So by purchasing these easements in perpetuity, we can ensure that those lands could be farmed and harvested for generations to come here in Lackawanna County. So to date, we have over 5,000 acres preserved just in Lackawanna County alone. So thank you to the commissioners for your investment in that over the years. We wouldn't have been able to do it without you.
Great.
Thanks for your work, Eric.
Thank you. Does the board have any questions? I'd like to personally thank both of you for the great job that you guys do.
Yes,
it really matters to the citizens of Lackawanna County. You can't, you can't drink money. You can't, if you don't have good soil, you don't have water, you don't have anything. And thank you for helping to preserve it, keep our families safe, because you are keeping our families safe by making sure that our land and our soil and our water is good.
They're feeding us, yeah.
So thank you
very much.
Okay, I'd like to enter into the agricultural conservation easement. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Yes.
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 And Jerry wants to talk about some work that we're doing at the Conservation
Real
Board.
quick things regarding the agricultural easements. For a county that is historically known for its mining and its industry, for us to be able to preserve over 5,000 acres of farmland in the county is a tremendous accomplishment, and we would not be able to do it without the help of the commissioners. We receive a significant match from the Commonwealth for this program, but without some county contribution, we would not be able to administer this program in the county. And like Eric said, there's significant environmental benefits, also economic benefits to the people that are in the program. It's a program that helps a lot of older farmers be able to stay on their property and stay on their land.
Yeah.
And it keeps it in an agricultural state for perpetuity. So thank you very much for your continued support of that program.
Absolutely.
Also, I'd like to say that the Conservation District, it's spring, and every spring the Conservation District has a seedling sale. And we're doing that again this year. If anyone is interested or would like a copy of the order form, they can obtain it in several different ways. Our phone number at the Conservation District is 382-3086. It is also available on our Facebook page, on our website, and it has been on the county's Facebook page as well. Some of the species that we're having this year, we're having apple trees, peach trees, persimmon trees, wild cherry, blueberry bushes, strawberries, Douglas fir, sugar maples, and several different types of perennial flowers. And all the money that we raise from the seedling sale goes to scholarships for high school seniors in Lackawanna County that are going to pursue an environmental major or agronomy or a veterinary science. So if they're going to pursue that in college, they can contact us, contact the district for information on scholarships as well.
Great job.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm so proud of the work that you all do, and I'm so proud to be a part of it. So thank you for everything and for coming in.
Leave some order forms
Yes.
here too.
Are you gonna?
Okay.
Yeah, I'll get that tree planted right away.
Thank you.
We're planting on Gray Street.
I bought them last year. I didn't plant it.
Yeah, plant them.
They're great.
19-0079.
Commissioners, for purposes of economy, if we want to combine the next two, they're both
Yes,
dealing with grants from emergency services?
Sure.
Okay. So we're going to combine 19-0079 and 19-0083. Resolution 19-0079 is a resolution approving the Hazardous Materials Response Fund grant. Be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County does hereby approve the submission of the Hazardous Materials Response Fund grant for the Department of Emergency Services. And Resolution 19-0083 is a resolution entering into a Radiation Emergency Response Grant Agreement. Be it resolved, the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County does hereby enter into a grant agreement with the Pennsylvania Emergency Management Agency for the Radiation Emergency Response Fund fiscal year 2019 in the amount of $9,119. And here to address the Board is Emergency Management Deputy Director Rich Barbolish. Rich.
Good morning, Rich.
Morning, Commissioners. Both grants are annual grants. These are preliminary applications. The Hazardous Materials Response Fund grant supports our hazmat safety program in the county, which consists of 8 hazmat supply stockpiles situated throughout the county strategically. The amount of the grant isn't known yet until all applicants get their submissions to the state. Then it's determined how much we'll get. It's ranged anywhere from $5,000 up to $17,000 last year. So we're hoping we're going to get the same this year. The Radiation Emergency Response Fund grant comes from funds that are contributed by the 5 nuclear power plants throughout the state. Goes into a state fund, and that's divided amongst the support counties, of which we are one in the state. We support Luzerne and Columbia counties because of the Berwick power plant, and that has been consistently $9,119 for the past several years.
Does the board have any questions for Rich? I'd like to make a motion for 19-0079 and 19-0083. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Thanks, Rich. Thanks for coming. 19-0080. And at this time, I'd like to ask our good friend Keith Williams to come forward. Gary, you want to move back a little bit? Let Keith get by the mic. Yep.
I'll read the resolution in the interim.
Sure, go ahead.
It's a resolution appointing appointments to the Lackawanna County Disability Action Committee. Be it resolved, the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County does hereby reappoint the following individuals to the Lackawanna County Disability Action Committee, each with a 3-year term to begin immediately and to expire on December 31st, 2021. Keith R. Williams, Clark's Green; Robert Walsh, Scranton; Marcy McNamara, Scranton; Keel Eigen, Old Forge; and Craig Malin from Scranton.
I know we've done a lot of great things in Lackawanna County over the last 3 years and 3 months, but this committee was stagnant and there was no meetings or anything for years. And I'd like to just thank the board, like I said, Keith Williams, Robert Walsh, Marcy McNamara, Keel Eigen, and Craig Malin, God bless you, for really making this board matter and being part of the build out for Lackawanna County Government Center and letting us know if there's an issue. And that's what it's about. It's about everybody being on the same level playing field. We'd like to thank you, Keith, for being here today with all of us.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioners. We, on behalf of the entire Disability Action Committee, we appreciate all of the your ability to empower us to kind of run with the ball, so to speak, for a certain number of projects that we've been working on, and we know that the county's been supporting us. The county's been great in having the commission do three with pre and post construction here at the Globe Store buildings, walking tours for accessibility, and be able to point out various small barriers that are easy to remove, and that are inexpensive. We've had several meetings with the architects from the Palumbo Group last year and the beginning of this year, and that was very helpful. So we appreciate your support in that. If just very quickly, if I can just tell you briefly about a new project coming up. I know that you're aware of it. We did email you the information. The Disability Action Committee is sponsoring an Americans with Disabilities Act training for local governments in Lackawanna County. So if there are any towns, municipalities, boroughs, townships that would be interested, they can contact the committee for information. It's going to be held at the the Hilton in Scranton on Thursday, June 27th. And the way that we have it structured so far is that we're going to be having a presenter, a trainer from the Mid-Atlantic ADA Training Center out of Rockville, Maryland. It's going to be in 2 sessions. The morning session from 9 till noon is going to be on Title II of the ADA, so local governments, municipalities, certainly the counties, Lackawanna County is encouraged to attend. Whoever you would want to designate to attend for that. And then after lunch, the afternoon session is going to be geared toward businesses so that they know what their responsibilities are for compliance and accessibility under the ADA, but not from the perspective of this is another law with which we have to adhere. No, we want to look at it as a positive so that businesses understand that by making their restaurants, bars, movie theaters, shops more accessible, they're welcoming new customers. Right. So they're not only complying with the law, they're helping their own bottom line, their own pocketbook. And we'd like to invite I'll get more information to you as it becomes firmed up, and I'd like to invite the 3 of you to that event in June. And again, thank you for all your support for the committee.
Thank you, Keith. We want you to reach out to Rick Notary, so when we have our community relations people go out, they go to all the municipalities, they can let them all know about this event as it materializes. It sounds like you got a couple more things you're going to be doing, but once it's really set up, let him know, because we'd like for all the municipalities to realize, and it's the truth. Listen, it is the bottom line. A lot of people, everybody eats, and it doesn't matter if you have a disability or not. Everybody should try to make sure that their facility is accessible. Right. And like I said, it's not like you're saying this is a new law, just to make them cognizant of that they might not be able to get through this doorway, or they can't get in this bathroom, or just to try to help the people.
Right.
I think it's great.
Exactly.
I think it's great. Commissioner Cummings?
Well, I appreciate all the work that you're doing, and I do have 2 new members that are looking to join. How do they go about doing that?
2 new members?
Well,
sure.
people want to join and help. I'm not sure if you add them onto the board. Do you have meetings?
Like your advisors?
Oh, meetings? Yeah, we meet on the 2nd Tuesday of the month, 4 p.m. And actually, we're meeting in this room now. So, sure, if you have anybody who is interested in an appointment and who has an interest in making the monthly meetings and participating in between, that would be great. Yeah. If they want more information about the committee and the work itself, feel free to give them my phone number, my email address, however they want to reach out.
What's your number?
Sure. It's 570.
Wait,
oh, sorry.
That's probably his cell. I have it. Okay, yeah, just get it.
Oh, no, I usually use my office.
Oh,
yeah, I'll
okay,
give you
okay.
my yeah, that's where 570-344-7211, extension 303. An email would be kwilliams@mycil, mycil.org.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure, I'd be glad to work with them, give them information.
Yeah, they're looking to try and find areas where they can volunteer and possibly get involved, so.
That would be great.
Thanks.
We need boots on the ground.
Yeah.
As they say. We really do.
Not going to turn out a volunteer, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Commissioner Terrietti.
Keith, great job to you and your committee. It's been a pleasure working with you, and
same on this end, Commissioner.
I look forward to the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great job.
Thanks.
You do a great job. I'm very happy. Okay.
Thanks.
Make a motion appointment to the Lackawanna County Disabilities Action Committee. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Keith.
Thanks, Keith.
Thanks, Commissioner.
And make sure we know about it, because if I
Sure
know
will.
be there, I'll be there for the 28th?
27th.
27th.
Yeah,
I'll be there.
Thanks.
Okay.
I see some I'm excited. I see some Scranton residents here that I just saw in Sarah.
Okay. 19, what am I doing? Okay. 19-0081. What's that? Oh, it's off? Okay.
That's taken off.
Okay. Oh, geez, okay.
We're opportunity for public.
Okay. Opportunity for the public to address the board.
Hello, Commissioners. I'm Charles Brewer. I'm the Secretary of Greenfield Township, and I'm here on behalf of the citizens of Greenfield Township and the supervisors. And we do have a request. Last night at the supervisors meeting, there was a lively discussion regarding the storm water fee that's coming to Lackawanna County. A lot of this, I'll refer it now as the rain tax. The citizens were kind of surprised, and they asked me, you know, why didn't they know about it? And I told them because the press and the media have been very poor in educating the citizens of Lackawanna County regarding what's upcoming, except for Frank Andrews on WILK. I'll briefly give you a synopsis of what happened last night. Regarding the stormwater fee or the rain tax, properties in municipalities with municipal separate storm sewer systems, MS4 permits, must pay the fee or the tax. Anyone in those towns whose property includes impervious surface is responsible for payment. No one is exempt. Homeowners, businesses, nonprofits, churches, colleges, school districts, and city and municipal agencies all pay. The fee is based on the amount of impervious surface on a property. Impervious area is anything that rainwater flows off without seeping into the ground. Roofs, walkways, patios, driveways, parking lots, and all impervious. Gravel driveways are also count in the total. So far, what I found out, the only one that is exempt is PennDOT, naturally. How this came about was back...
Oh, God.
There's a lot of impervious surfaces there, huh? Wow. I would have thought they'd be number one.
Because they don't get taxed on 81.
How this came about was on May 12, 2009, President Obama passed the Executive Order 13508, which was called the Chesapeake Bay Protection and Restoration Executive Order. He had given the EPA the authority to generate a plan. On June 16, 2014, the Chesapeake Bay Watershed Agreement was signed into place by 6 states, Delaware, Maryland, New York, Pennsylvania, Virginia, West Virginia, and Washington, D.C. The EPA mandated, unfunded mandate to these states, all right, to incorporate a plan to stop the Chesapeake Bay from getting polluted. However, they totally neglected the Unfunded Mandate Reform Act, all right, which was passed with bipartisan cooperation between the Republican-led Congress and Bill Clinton decades ago. So what President Obama did and the EPA in directing the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection to incorporate this plan was illegal. However, they're still pushing for it. What's happened in Luzerne County, I don't know if you know, but they've got their bills for this fee, and there was a bowling alley I know that was taxed $3,000. There was a pharmacy which was close to $3,000. There was a small business which was $300. There's numerous horror stories. The impact that this will have on Lackawanna County will be devastating to the citizens, and it will be devastating to the businesses. You're going to see taxes go up when this fee goes to the school districts. The county, from what I understand, is not exempt. You have many parks with parking lots. You have buildings, all right? You're going to get hit with these, I'll call it a tax. The reason why they call it a fee is because they can't tax nonprofit organizations and municipalities and government agencies, so they call it a fee for a service. This isn't only going to have a devastating effect on property owners, it's going to hurt citizens who rent. Costs for businesses are going to go up, your prices are going to go up. This will be devastating. So what we did last night at the Greenfield Township meeting was we took a letter that Representative Aaron Coffer from Luzerne County had sent to Attorney General Shapiro and asking him to file an injunction with the U.S. government and the EPA about this unfunded mandate. Good. So our supervisors, Joseph Slobodnik and Susan Totsky, agreed to modify the letter, which I did for them, and they're going to send it to Attorney General Shapiro through our solicitor, Wally Casper. So what the citizens have asked me to do is to request something similar from the county commissioners, because we feel that you need to stand up for the interests of all the 200,000 residents of Lackawanna County, not only just the Greenfield Township. I think it's imperative that we try to do anything we can to stop this from devastating our county. I do have a package, if I can approach the commissioners.
Sure. Why don't you bring it? Why don't you give it over here? I'll take it.
Yeah. I have one for everyone here. I did modify the letter to represent
he has it for us.
Lackawanna County. Also attached is an article that was written in a paper in Luzerne County regarding their situation, and it's called Stormwater 101, which is very educational. I recommend that you highly read it. So the request is that the commissioners would send a letter to Attorney General Shapiro. You can modify it. I have a soft copy. I can send it to you if you'd like. Just requesting, that they file this injunction to stop this unfunded mandate, which is illegal. If you have any questions.
Well, I appreciate the work that you did, Mr. Brewer, because, I'm glad that you are educating the citizens up there into this information, and I'll read this over, and I'm definitely against anything that would harm our citizens, especially an increased tax or fee. So.
We've been trying to get as many government officials to help us out. Bridget Kozorowski had mentioned on the radio that she supports this.
Well, we don't want to get into politics, really. We don't at a meeting, and I appreciate the information, but...
Well, we have not been able to...
God bless you.
We have not been able to get any support in Lackawanna County from any of our representatives or senators.
Well, you'll get my support. I
said representatives or senators.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So what we're doing is I've been requested to go to different townships and do something similar. But the citizens of Greenfield Township asked me to come here first because we feel that the commissioners of Lackawanna County and Lackawanna County would have a great impact.
Yeah.
I would just like to ask, I feel the same way that you do. You know what I mean? It's very unnecessary, and like I said, it's all right for them to give us mandates. The problem is you know what I mean, we're the ones that are going to be paying for it. Yeah. So I'd just like to ask my solicitor for his thoughts, but I absolutely agree with it. Maybe we can do a motion right now.
The federal government should fund this. It's not that we don't want it done.
I believe it should be done. The problem is it's going to be on our backs.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Right. As I read this letter, you're just requesting us sending a letter asking the Attorney General to require the federal government to fund this mandate.
Yes.
Right? Not opposed to the requirements of
sort of not at all.
Lowering the levels of phosphate and other in the Lackawanna River, but if you're going to throw this on the local communities, you should fund it or fund part of it. That's all the letter's asking for.
Yes. The federal government has funded the Great Lakes Restoration Act, which is up in Michigan and part of Pennsylvania by Lake Erie and New York and Wisconsin. However, there's been no funding for the Chesapeake Bay. So if you have any questions,
I think we go. It's good. I think it's easy.
If the commissioners wish to
Yeah,
make a motion,
absolutely. You know, the
there's
problem is
another
they're putting on each 40 municipalities. Each municipality is absolutely going to have to take care of their own area. And it looks like the stuff that's going on in Luzerne County, they're all over the map. Some people are getting bills, some people aren't. No one really knows who's getting it. Is it the sewer authority? Is it your water bill? And like you said, this happens a lot in government. We see it all the time where, something gets pushed through and then the taxpayers end up paying for it.
And if you don't pay the fee, you get fined, and then if you don't pay the fine, you put a lien on your property.
That's terrible.
I'd like to make a motion that we're going to send this letter to Attorney General Josh Shapiro.
Second.
Second.
One thing too, Mike just reminded me that President Trump can overturn the executive order. If he does come to this area, we'd like to bring his attention to that. That would do away with all this. However, we haven't heard anything from the White House yet.
It was an executive order that caused this?
Yes, it was an executive order on May 12th of 2009, Executive Order 13508, which started all this.
Okay, well, I seconded the motion.
I'm just very concerned with the fact of what the impact would be on our citizens. And nothing's set up properly at this point. And like I said, we're always getting hit with mandates, Jim. We just have to pay for them. This is something, let's send this letter and let's see what happens with it. So
thank you very much. I appreciate it.
We're on board for this. Roll call.
Yes.
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 Thank
you. Thank you for your due diligence.
Thanks for writing
today.
this.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's very good work.
If you have any questions or concerns, I can give you my phone number and email address.
No,
Thank you.
It was a great job.
No,
Thank
really
you.
good job. Let everyone know that came to the meeting, too.
Well, I just wanted to, in regards to that, there was some commentary made, and this is truly what leadership is all about in regards to protecting the residents of our county. And I appreciate the fact that our citizens are involved and came to us and we took action. And thank you so much. And, I think this is something that we always have to be watchful of our citizens. And I appreciate the fact that the Greenfield went out of its way to come up here and educate us on this and do all this work. Thank you so much.
One of the 40 municipalities.
That's right. Yes, they do a lot of work. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
And just Sarah?
Right.
Sarah, good job at Scranton City Council. Good job.
Hi.
Sarah, need your name and address.
Sarah Lancaster, 106 Hope Way, Scranton, PA, 18504. First of all, because I read in the paper about the stormwater tax, and I don't know how to address it myself, but I am a homeowner.
Yep.
Every impervious surface, so that means the roof of my house is counted in.
Yes.
Does it go by square feet? Is it like 50?
It does.
It does? So if I have a larger house, it's going to be more of a tax. Yeah. But does anybody know per square feet it is the cost? The fee?
No. That's the problem, yeah.
Okay.
It seems to be all over the map, and that's what the concern is.
Right. I'll keep coming back.
Driveways, sidewalks.
Right.
That could be your vehicle, actually. It could be your car, because what do you think about it? It's impervious. The water comes off that.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Okay, I read on the website about recycling bins that are going to be all-inclusive of all the materials instead of having two separate paper and plastic. Is that still in its...
I think what you were referring to is the Barb Giovanoli got them for the county.
Yeah,
Didn't she get new waste receptacles?
Where do you live?
West Side.
That would be the Department
For
of
our
Public
building.
Works.
Oh.
It's not for the public.
Yeah, yours would be like the Department of Public Works would be like the plastic glass bin, and then
We don't
there'd be a
hand
paper
them
bin.
out to the residents.
Oh, no, I'm not asking for the handout.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, because there is two separate ones right now, is there somewhere down the line one for me that I can put out and it would be all-inclusive? Like, I wouldn't have to have two separate ones, but that's not,
No,
that's
that's
our
just
county
for our
office
county
cities.
building,
Not,
yeah.
Oh, okay. One thing about that, I have, who do I complain to about the DPW for not picking up my recycling? I have to...
Reach out to the mayor's office.
Yeah.
The mayor's?
Yes.
Jeez, you can't fight City Hall, right? I've been
She's great. I
calling
love
every
her.
day, or every week when my recycling hasn't been picked up, and I wouldn't do anything because it's not like it's a chore for me to, put it out. But when it's paper, the week's paper, and I have a lot of large containers from moving in my house, you know, for chairs and shelves or whatever, that if they don't pick it up on that day and then there's wind, I live in a cul-de-sac, so everything like blows right onto mine, so then I have to run around and pick it up and set it back on my porch to wait for the next week. And they suggested that I call there every morning if they don't pick it up, but like, why is that my job to make sure that they do their job when I'm trying to do the right thing by recycling in the first place? You know what I mean?
So, what's the time on the route for the city of Scranton for recycling? Is it, are they
I have
picking
no
the
idea.
neighbors up? Did you notice that the neighbors recycling is?
No. No one in my area recycles, and the one time I did call to pick up the paper, there was a big giant cardboard box in somebody's thing, but I don't know if they called either. I think they just left it there for trash. But my point is, I'm trying to save money and the environment by recycling and doing the right thing. I don't think that I have to like pick up after somebody and say, well, can you please get the truck over here to get it, since, you know, they have a route that they're supposed to be going around anyway to see about the recycling. So who would I complain to besides the mayor? Can I go to the DPW?
That guy sitting right there, that Mr. Horvath is our Scranton Times reporter. Talk to him to put it in the paper and talk about what the issue is.
So I can't go to the DPW?
You can, but also talk to the media.
You could reach out. Reach out. Like I said, I'm not sure if you reach out to DPW.
Where is it? Where is
DPW is over in the lower
plot?
Well, it's not the plot station. It's right behind Weston Field.
Right, right. So I can go over there and talk to Mr. Gallagher and say, listen, these guys, because the one time that they did pick it up, I happened to be on my porch. It was dark out, and the guy's like, hey ho, hey, I didn't know he was talking to me because I was doing something on my phone. I looked up, he goes, hey, how you doing there? Like, I was like, fine. I was like, thank you for picking up my recycling. Like, why do I have to thank him for doing his job? You know what I mean? And that's another thing. Like, I don't want to get a whole bunch of city employees pissed off at me because I've been complaining about the. Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, you can't talk like that
Oh,
here.
sorry.
You know, we got to keep the decorum. But with that being said, I think that maybe the situation would be the fact that no one else in your neighborhood may not recycle, so you might be the lone person. So you might just help. They say maybe you're getting forgot about. Let the head of Mr. Gallagher know about it. And I'm sure that they'll pick it up. And if it goes any further, then you reach out to the mayor's office. But I would start with DPW to start.
Okay.
And I'm very happy that you're trying to, take care of recycling.
Okay. Another thing, where I live, like I said, on 106 Hope Way, and it is a cul-de-sac. So you pass my house and go to the cul-de-sac to come back out. But on this side of my house, about 40 feet away, is the railroad tracks and a train. I live the closest to the railroad tracks. Yeah. So, like, if I would walk 10, 20, 30 feet, I'd be able to touch the train. And the site of the litter and the illegal dumping and the trash that's on the other side of the fence, that Habitat for Humanity erected. Habitat for Humanity of Lackawanna County, since now disbanded and they're non-existent, I called Habitat for Humanity International. His name was David Wilson. He called me back and told me because the Habitat for Humanity of Lackawanna County had no more money to do their business, they kind of like pushed their way to dissolve because it was no sense. There was no community interest or community involvement, and the money wasn't coming in for them to keep going, so they disbanded. But my question was to him, since they erected the fence and now the fence is in tatters and there's people illegal dumping, who do I go to? And he said the city. I said I already was the city council, and they told me it was the railroad. You know what I mean? So I wrote the railroad an email, but they never answered me back. And so I figured when I was at the Scranton council meeting Monday, I figured I would come here because you guys handled the ordinances and the violations for people that do the littering and the dumping, right?
No.
No.
No, we don't. City of Scranton.
Wait a minute. The city of Scranton owns the land before the fence and after the fence, but not the railroad track.
The railroad that would be the railroad south.
No, it's actually Norfolk Southern.
Canadian Pacific and Norfolk Southern both run lines on those rails.
Right. Right, but the email that I sent, the railroad that I thought was it, I got a one-word reply that said, Sarah, that railroad is owned by Norfolk Southern, and it didn't give me a contact name or a number or anybody else that I could, you know what I mean, further my questions to about the trash. Because on the website, it has violations for littering and trash and dumping, but they're called quality of life. I mean, for my quality of life to be paying the taxes that I pay and the garbage fees that I do, I think that because I'm only one person and I don't have any clout, I don't know anybody in office, I don't have a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer.
Yeah, we try to work with every citizen that needs our help. It doesn't matter who.
Right, I need help. I need help.
That's how we try to work it.
I need help with the
certain
railroad.
boundaries. If it's not something we have control over, we don't control over it. But like I said, I'm not sure about that. You know what I mean? That's, I mean.
So you're not sure as a commission or.
Yeah, that's not.
It's a city issue.
That you can contact the railroad.
Yeah, it's a city issue, and it sounds like, I think I would Google, was it Norfolk or whatever?
Norfolk Southern.
See what the contact number is and call that way.
That's the point. They don't accept anything from individuals. Do you know what I mean? And they give out grants to fund things like this for the community, for the safety, because there's a big gaping hole right by my house where the public keeps walking to and fro past the railroad tracks. And there's dead trees falling around everywhere. One almost hit my car. But they're falling over the fence and inside of the fence where the railroad is. So I'm thinking, if there's a kid that walks through that and a tree limb hits them in their head, is that the city for not making the railroad maintain the shrubbery, the greenery, or is it just the railroad? Because I can't contact the railroad as a lone person. I did go to the library and view what it means to be an American to you. And after it, we had a little discussion because I told them that I was born and raised here, so was my mother, and so was my mother's mother. But the involvement in any kind of public eye or public government has been shunned out of fear of retaliation from whoever, that I got a little braver and I stayed after the meeting. And I asked her, was there any grant writing classes or something of that nature, because I wanted a street light erected to deter crime and to ensure safety, if not only for the citizens, but for the police officers, because one died chasing someone in a dark area, you know, that would do away with it. But I can't ask my neighbors to sign a petition because they're not very neighborly. You know, I mean, it's a shame that for a community to be as poor and as disenfranchised as we already are, that we can't come together, but that's neither here nor there. I want to know how to write my own grant, for one, just to include it when I go, next time I go to the library, and say, we can ask the railroad to do this. Do you know what I mean? Because it has to come from an organization. It can't come from an individual to ask for money to clean up the mess or to fix the fence or whatever. And since Habitat's not involved and the city won't be involved, I don't have the money to do it myself. I don't have the manpower. I figured I'd come here because I need help. But nobody, you don't know.
Could you do me a favor? Could you get the information out, for at least get her contact number with the railroad so she can make a call, let them know what their situation is? Okay. You talk to Ricky, and Ricky.
Okay, thank you. And a couple more things. The tax appeal. My mother had the first prototype for the Habitat for Humanity house. I forget when it was built. But anyway, all the other houses around her were like 3 stories, and they were like Victorians and really grand things. My mother's house was $20,000 to build, and her taxes were the same as everybody else's around her, and I found out how to take pictures and do all this stuff. My question is, when you do a property tax appeal for your house, do they consider what's in the house as the value, or just outside the house? Just outside,
We're
right?
not supposed to talk under this. We're supposed to just basically listen to you, but I'm going to answer this. They go by your square footage of your house.
Okay.
And they go by the surrounding houses.
Right,
That's
and improvements, does that count as repairs? Because like I had a fire,
No,
so
if you're adding square footage, that's what adds.
Okay. Would the proximity of the railroad being closest to my house have anything to do with the value?
You absolutely could, yes. No,
It should bring it down, right?
Yes.
Yeah, right. Okay. And
a lot of people might not want to be by the railroad.
Appeals.
I don't like being by it either. It took me years to get used to the loud noise, because sometimes it feels like there's a literal train wreck right outside my door. But I've gotten used to it. I just want to know if, because I have to look at this mess and I pay so much for taxes, that even though I get a property tax rebate, it covers 3/4 of what I have to pay back the next year. So I'm usually like doing other things with that money, but I would really like to know as a citizen how to ask for help to get the clout that I need to have some improvement on my land, because where I live, I'm all alone. You know what I mean? And I don't want to be I don't want to be narked out. I don't want to be labeled as any kind of naysayer, do-gooder, whatever it is for anybody to take. Because my house was already tagged. When I had the fire, they came and took my copper pipes and all this mess and wrote 9-inch nails or some crap on the, you know what I mean? And it's because of that hole that's in the fence that they're undercover to do whatever they want, and because there's no street light there to say, you know, have at it.
Is there a former street light, or is it just there's no street light?
No, there was no light.
That's all city. That's a DPW issue. That's the city.
I can't raise the petition to get the street light because my neighbors won't go for that either. But I figured if the city had a like a mandate to say, you know, whether you like it or not, this is for your safety and deterrent of crime, we're putting a light up, you know, that would be good. I don't know if you can.
Why don't you make a call to DPW, explain some of your issues you have there. Mr. Notary is going to try to find a number on the railroad for you, so you'll be able to speak to them. So after you get done speak to Ricky, give him your number. He'll try to get you a contact person.
Okay.
Where are you at? You're at Hope Way, right?
Right. It's that's another thing. I was researching what dedication of a street meant, and that once the property is dedicated to the city's like under a mandate to take care of all the infrastructure and, you know, whatever. But there's 2 grates for a sewer close to my house, but not really like on my property. And I'm wondering, does that have anything to do with the storm tax? I mean, because they were looking at these grates that have a sewer. What I'm trying to say is,
it has to do with the sewer authority, but it wouldn't have the sewer tax points.
And is it sewer proper? Like, is this grate that they were looking at?
This is all city. This is all city
And
stuff.
it's a sewer.
It's all city. All city.
No,
It's not water.
Drain water.
It's water?
Yes.
It's not sewer?
Let's hope not.
Yeah, we'll have them go actually into the same system when there's an overflow too. So.
Right. Okay. Now, just one quick thing. Can I have the names of the people that you said were going to help me?
Rick is
Rick
right there.
there.
Rick Notary.
And you got to call DPW for Mr. Gallagher. He's the head.
That's it?
That's it. Just Mr. Gallagher for DPW, because that sounds like a lot of things. You can tell him all your different complaints. And then Rick can try to help you find out a contact number for the railroad.
Okay. If I can't get any kind of real deal with the city and the railroad, can I write Attorney Shapiro a letter and say, can you... No? He's looking at me. He's like...
No.
Won't work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for coming.
Joan Hodawanitz, 101 Penn Avenue, Scranton. Well, that's a hard act to follow.
Right? She's good.
But, okay, ladies and gentlemen, good news and bad news. First, the good news. I spoke to Gary before the meeting began, and we have no new legal fees to add to our grand total, so that's good. And I think that now we're starting to see the cases go to court. Perhaps the light is there at the end of the tunnel.
Thank God.
And it's not an oncoming train. So that's good news. And thank God, you won't like this, but thank God for the Scranton Times and Tribune. And you too, Jeff, you're sitting over there. Last couple years, they have done more to expose fraud, waste, and abuse in the city and in the county than anybody else who is supposed to be a public watchdog. And you know, a couple weeks ago when Mr. Kenneth Norton became a member of the Scranton School District Board, they brought to light the fact that he owed something like $20,000 in unpaid garbage fees. The next day he promptly scurried down, I guess, to this building and started some kind of payment plan. As he explained in the paper, it was on his to-do list, which then caused Jim Lockwood and I guess Jeff, or was it Ben O'Connell, Jay O'Connell, to get a printout or the database from the city of all delinquent garbage fees. They could only go back to the year 2002. It may be more than that, but you saw it in the paper on Saturday that the grand total, including interest and fines, was $16.8 million. That's a hefty amount of change, okay? And then, of course, you know what happened this week. We found out that a senior county official was among the people on that list who, for 10 years, had not been paying garbage fees. And so I'm here to tell you, I'm here to vent my anger about that. I've been paying taxes since I was 17 years old, back in 1967, and I've been paying property taxes for the last 20 years. And I've also helped some family members pay their taxes when they were unemployed. So, you know, I make sure, you know, that my taxes and fees are paid. I even took care of a family member, and that also includes my mother, you know, who financially were hard-pressed, especially a family member who had lost his job. And then I come to find out, well, you know, not everybody is doing that. But I want to know, well, you got to understand that part of my anger is due to the fact that if you sit back and you look at that $16.8 million, and then you look at, if you ran that same list of people and entities and check their delinquent taxes, you know, then you got to ask yourself, am I paying for people who are not pulling their fair share of their tax burden? We all know that there are people on the list that are probably dead, or they've been kidnapped by aliens, or there's some other legitimate reason. Maybe there's an error on the list, but you gotta know that probably most people on the list just are going, okay? Because they know nothing's gonna happen to them when they don't pay their garbage fee.
Which is ridiculous.
Their garbage gets picked up, okay?
Why?
So then you know, and then of course there's a story, and you know you have a senior official who had not paid her garbage fees and her taxes. And Maureen, you make a valid point, meeting after meeting, about your concern about people who cannot afford their tax bill and are at risk of losing their properties. Right. Okay. The question is, what would be their actual tax bill if everybody was paying their fair share? I mean, that would be a substantial reduction in what we're paying, would it not?
Joan, if they want to make a tax across the board and tax everybody $500, go right ahead. But they won't do that because it's not a fair tax system.
I'm just saying, if everybody, you know, if we didn't have tax scofflaws, people who work the system and just refuse to pay their taxes, even though they have the means to do it, that would reduce my tax bill. And it would reduce the tax bill of a lot of people. We're picking up the slack for people who are breaking the law, period. End of sentence. So I have several questions for you, okay? When you hire a county employee, is there any kind of vetting process? Do you do a drug test? Do you do a criminal background check? Well, maybe what you need to add to that is check to see if all their taxes and fees are paid. And if they're not, you have to ask them why. I have no problem with someone who has a financial emergency that says, I can't handle this bill this year, and they go in and they establish some kind of payment plan, even if it's only a token $10 a year. But for somebody just to ignore it, I have a problem with that. Okay? So maybe you need to look at that. You know, when you hire someone and when they have their annual performance review, check to make sure that, because they're getting paid tax dollars. Their salary is coming out of my taxes, is it not? So I have a right to say, if I'm paying my taxes to pay your salary, you had better pay your taxes and fees, or you better tell me why not. And I understand that there are emergencies. My parents, their house caved in 1963. It took 5 years before Congressman McDade was able to get, you know, that property off of their hands and pay them some kind of token money, because that night the house was condemned. We were pulled out and put on the sidewalk by the Scranton City Police at 3 o'clock in the morning with all our possessions left inside.
That's horrible.
Okay? For 5 years, waiting for the city, you know, to take possession of the property and pay us a token amount, my parents had to pay taxes and insurance. Now, you know, I mean, we got no slack. Nobody gave us a break. We paid it. We were living at survival level, okay? No dentist, no doctors. The school had to intervene to get me my first pair of glasses because I couldn't see the darn blackboard. And so the school nurse sent me home and wouldn't let me come back to school until I had a pair of glasses. That's how poor we were, but we paid our taxes. So I got no sympathy for people who don't pay. And if they do have an issue, they need to come in and they need to make arrangements. But simply to ignore it, well, hey, I'm special. Or, you know, I can't afford that, you know, or it's on my to-do list. You got to give me a break. Your to-do list? I'll give you a to-do list.
Who said that?
Mr. Norton, the new member of the Scranton School District Board.
Oh, well, he
said it was on his to-do list. He knew he owed them. He just, you know, his wife had been ill, so, you know, and other things came up and other things took priority, but it was on his to-do list. Well, I mean, I missed many a meal in that 5-year period. Okay, we were darn poor, but we paid the tax. And, you know, I mean, how can a senior county official have enough financial assets to have to do estate planning and put her name on a property with her brother, okay, but not be aware that her taxes and fees are not paid? I'm sorry, but the standard for public employees, especially somebody in a leadership position, is you set the example. You make sure you know the status of your taxes and your fees. You don't say, well, my brother's going to handle it. You remember Kevin Smith, Smith's Restaurant on Cedar Avenue? He also didn't pay his property taxes. We got rid of him. So, and my feeling is when you hire somebody, you vet them, and that includes making sure they don't owe taxes, they don't owe fees. When you do their annual performance ratings, you check that because it's a public database and it's easy for you to check. There should be no reason why you don't. You're going to promote someone to a leadership position, you better make sure they have no dirty laundry. Okay? That's dirty laundry as far as I'm concerned. I have no problem with someone saying, I've got a special situation, I can't pay in full this year, but I'm going to make arrangements. But simply not to know or to write it off and put it on your to-do list, that's not cutting it. And this is an election year, and I think people are going to remember this. It's an election year, and they're going to look. I remember 4 years ago, Mayor Courtwright tried to put somebody on one of his boards. And Marie Shoemaker walked up and she says, this guy's got a state tax lien. He's not paying his taxes. The guy promptly withdrew his name, which is what he should have done. He should never have been nominated. Okay, we got to stop this. When I was in the Army as a commander, I used to get letters from creditors that soldiers had not paid their bills or they had not paid their child support from back in the States. Okay?
Child support, I agree.
Kommen Sie here, bitte. Sitten Sie down your butt. Okay, you tell me what's going on. And they didn't leave my office until they had a plan for catching up, okay, and paying their just debts. I'm sorry. I think, you know, we all know who we're talking about, and she's a fine lady. And she has to pay her taxes. She has to pay her fees. And I don't want to hear excuses. You know, my brother takes care of that. Does not cut it. You all should be embarrassed.
I don't believe that was...
Read the paper.
Is that what that said? Is that...
You want me to read the quote?
I don't read the paper, Joan, so I don't know what you're referring to.
You should.
I read articles that they tell me, that my staff tell me are about.
You should read it. Right, Jeff? You were there.
Well, they never have anything good to say about me, so I should read.
I'm sorry, you know, my name is on it, and I feel a responsibility for it. To say that this has slipped through the cracks is a little bit of an understatement. Those are quotes. She said that the properties are both in her and her brother's names for the purposes of estate planning, but that her brother handles the taxes and fees and that she doesn't see any bills. Hey, you know, you put your name on a deed, you've assumed responsibility for those taxes and those fees. That's not an excuse. That's my brother handles it. It doesn't cut it, okay? She says she should have been a little bit more diligent. Well, ain't that the truth? I'm sorry, but if you don't have a personnel policy where you vet people to make sure they don't owe taxes and they don't owe fees, and if they're having a financial problem, you get them in there, you counsel them, you make sure they set up a payment plan, or you find out what's going on. But if you're being paid out of taxpayer dollars, you have a ethical obligation, it should be a legal obligation, to be paying your fair share. And when you're looking at things like $16.8 million in delinquent garbage fees for the city of Scranton alone, and a lot of those people also have delinquent real estate taxes, you know, it's just not right. I'm tired of picking up the slack for deadbeats, okay? I understand that a small portion of those people have issues, but the majority of them are deadbeats because they've been getting away with it and they know they can. And thank God, like I said, for the Times Tribune bringing to light a lot of this nonsense, and thank God for Auditor General DePasquale for finding out the crap going on in the Scranton School District. We need more citizen watchdogs to be also looking into these issues. It's not enough for one or two people to try to attend all meetings. It's not. So now you've got my 2 cents. Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Anyone else? Okay, Commissioner Cummings.
I want to talk about the Conservation Board.
Absolutely.
And what great work that they do for our county. And the fact that we have our seedling sale. You just heard why we do the seedling sale. It goes to scholarships for people that are studying in the field, in any of the 3 fields that they honor. And the work that they do is amazing. I can't say enough about all that they do for us. We're always hearing about this, you know, rain tax now and State of the Bay. I have the State of the Bay report. Our farmers work so hard and our Conservation Board works so hard to try and make sure that we're maintaining runoff so that we don't have to affect the Chesapeake Bay. And I think that we've done a tremendous job. I'd like to commend our farmers for the work that they've done and what they've put up with from some of these crazy things that go on. My heart goes out to them, and we're preserving their farmland through what we just did today as well. So they're not going to be making these huge areas and building on it anymore from the areas that we saved today. So I'm proud to be a part of that as well. One of the things that they do at the Conservation District is it's for free stormwater management and rain barrel workshop, which is coming up. That's April 10th, and that's at Scott Township's Joe Terry Center's boardroom. And the first 10 people to register receive a free rain barrel and a diverter kit, but there's a limit of 1 per household. So if you have information on that or to register, you call 570-382-3086 or email nolan@lccd.net with your address and phone number so they can get back to you. So they're working on areas to try and alleviate some of these regulations that are coming down from the EPA by some practices you could do on your own in your own home setting, and trying to provide those for you at no cost to yourself. They're pretty big. We did an in-service on it last year, and we try to go up with them. You know, we've called the reporters to come up and report on this stuff, but nobody ever shows up, so it's very disheartening to see all the presentations that they do, and then we don't even get any coverage on it for our Conservation District, because they're very hardworking people, and our farmers are hardworking people. We're going to have a big to-do with the farms that are getting this allotment, so hopefully that'll be something that'll be in the media for us. I would hope that happened. And in regards to the letter that Chaz Brewer brought in, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate that, and thank you to Greenfield Township for the work that you're doing and for the educational information that you're providing. There was a statue in the news recently, the art, the Hope Horn. I'd like to thank my fellow commissioners for supporting me on the move for this. To the arts community for Maureen McGuigan doing all of her work to make this happen. It was a long process. She did it appropriately and professionally, and I'd like to thank her for that, and at the least amount of cost that it was going to be to the taxpayers. As far as people not paying taxes, I believe that garbage fee is currently under litigation, or did that come out of the lawsuit yet, John?
It's in litigation.
You know, it's one thing to have to pay taxes because you're trying to provide a service that's, you know, that you feel is required. But it's another thing to just create tax after tax after tax, fee after fee after fee, the result of which is what you see, people losing their homes and leaving. We see it. That's the result of it. You know, I understand that all this is in the news today. I mean, we hear about it all the time. I will tell you, there was a point in time where I didn't think I was going to be able to save my house, let alone pay my taxes, because of the economy. I scratched and crawled my way out of it, worked 16-hour days, and I did it. I'm proud of myself, but it came with a lot of bumps, bruises, and embarrassment. But it does happen. Now, I'm not saying that that's happened in these cases, but to see a bill that's not paid at $16 million, I just want to know, like, why. I don't understand how that occurs. I don't understand how it occurs without anybody noticing that that's out there at $16 million. I mean, well, first of all, I guess the lawsuit is legitimate because I'm assuming they paid their garbage bill in Scranton, so they didn't need the 16 mil, I guess. I don't know, unless they picked that up in the general fund. So they're still overtaxing the residents. I mean, obviously, that's an obvious given if they're, you know, missing 16 mil. And, you know, I don't believe that everybody, like, you're all required to pay $300 in Scranton. Even if you don't use that kind of, I mean, that's not fair. That's not a fair fee. I mean, you talk about fairness in taxation and everybody pays their fair share. Well, regardless of whether the bills were paid or not, it was still a $300 fee for somebody that might have one bag a month. That's not fair. That's not paying their fair share. And you know, it's never fair. A tax and a fee is never fair, ever. So, you know, that really doesn't, when I hear that word, it just kind of just goes right through me, because taxes are not fair the way they have them set up. That's why I have a problem with the property tax. It's just not fair the way it's set up, and people are paying more than others that shouldn't. And it's always going to be like that. Whether you have reassessment or not, it's still going to be an unfair taxation and protocol. And it's with the garbage fee, it's in Scranton. I mean, I don't live there, so I really have no skin in the game there. I mean, that's you guys that are from Scranton. You know, I'm glad to see somebody's finally fighting over the overtaxation that they have and the burdensome that they have to deal with. But, you know, it's amazing that, you know, there's so many different taxes that it seems like there's not a tax that they don't like down there. But I don't know. I just think that I don't know why it wasn't collected. I mean, in my borough, you put a sticker on your garbage and you put it out to the curb. If you don't have a sticker, the garbage isn't going anywhere until you put the sticker on the bag. End of story. Like, it works, you know? I mean, it works. So, I'm not sure what they can come up with. Maybe they can do a sticker program where it's actually, I believe that is a fair program, because if you have 3 bags of garbage, you're going to pay $6 for that week. $2 a sticker is what we pay. I don't know what they do in other areas. I know down in Luzerne County, they have they pay $100 and some fee a year. They get this thing they put in their window. If you don't have the right color for the year, they don't take your garbage. You paid your garbage fee for the year. They have it right in their front window. It has to be visible to the garbage men, and they don't pick it up if it's not in the window. There's other areas they can do that, but, you know, to have a $16 million out there, I think that in itself is a problem. Who's collecting? Like, what's going on there? Why'd they let it get that high? I don't get that. Nobody's watching that. I don't understand. I don't understand that they can allow it to get that high. But like I said, that's Scranton. I don't live there, and I live in Old Forge. I love my town. I just think we have a great town. I love the county. I think is doing well. I think we have a lot of communities that try and work together and help each other out, and more so than anywhere else, I think. I think that's why it works here. That's why people stay here, because we have that kind of heart built into us. It's just something we pass on from generation to generation, that we care about each other. And that's what makes us so great here in Lackawanna County. We care about people that aren't even ours. Like, it's just, like, as proven by my life, you know, I mean, people just took me in, didn't know me, they weren't related to me, they just took me in and took care of me. That's the kind of people that live here in Lackawanna County. So, you know, I'm proud to be here, and I hope they resolve the matter down in Scranton, but, you know, maybe they can, just a suggestion to Scranton, maybe a sticker, or the thing in your window might help. I don't know. I'm not sure, but if they, you know, that's about as much as I could say about that. And just want to thank Keith Williams for his work.
Yeah, he does a great job.
Does a great job, and for you working on that. You really took off with that, Commissioner. Applaud your efforts on that. Good job, and I hope everyone has a great day. I hope it's warm outside. I'm ready to go. That's it.
Commissioner Terriani?
I'm good.
Well, this coming Sunday, we're going to be having the half marathon. It's Sunday, April 7th, 9 a.m., and that's down on Providence Road. To be like 3,000 runners gearing up to do 13.1 miles. If anybody's able to get down there. We're at 8 o'clock-ish. The race starts at 9 a.m. Need lots of people to cheer them on, and it starts from Providence Road, and it ends inside of Memorial Stadium. So it's really great, and you have an opportunity to see some great runners coming in the last couple hundred yards, sometimes fighting to the finish line. I saw some great races over the last couple of years down there, so please come on down and cheer on the runners. Great for the community. A lot of people from outside the community come in and rent our hotels and go to our restaurants and enjoy the 13.1 miles. I like to say they enjoy it, they do it, and then they enjoy that they did it afterwards, because it's not fun during it. Also, Lackawanna County is going to be having its first annual Easter egg hunt Saturday, April 13th at McDade Park, and registration's at 11 a.m. and the hunt begins at 11:30 a.m. Information, call Parks and Recreation 570-963-6764, and we're going to let that individual that Joan was talking about have an opportunity to resolve whatever issues there are there. And I'd like to thank everyone for coming out today, and I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
He's the John Gleason who ran the Keystone Mission without the occupancy permit for the past several years, and the one that the city is now investigating for operating without proper licensing. Are you guys aware of that?
Which letter did you?
No.
Any reaction to that?
I don't know anything about it.
Any other reaction to the news about France taxes? You guys say you're going to give her an opportunity to rectify that?
Absolutely resolve it. I know.
You agree with that?
If it needs to resolve,